Welcome back to the cave. I'd like to say hello for myself, Tom Krieger, and our host, Mr. Smokin Joe himself, Dave Gutierrez. And this episode, we're going to talk a little bit basketball with March Madness coming up. It's been a great month. Saw some good high school games. And then the tournament, the championship game, the tournament games, Michigan State, and so on. And then we're moving on to March Madness. So, Dave, last weekend, we're over here, we watched Michigan State, and Michigan lost to them 3 times this year. And each time, Michigan was in control in the second half. What do you think happened to that?
Well, I think it was more Michigan State taking over control.
I agree.
I think Michigan State has the ability to do a couple things that really Michigan doesn't have an answer for this year. They have the ability to have a presence down low, and they have the ability to take away Michigan's, because Michigan doesn't have a post player. Like what?
Exactly. We talked about that the other day.
I mean, at the end of this last game, which was a very competitive game, we talked about it. Last 5 minutes of the game, really last 5 possessions.
We never had a go-to guy.
We stood around.
No, the last 2 years in the tournament, we had Wagner, and then we had Wilson that one year. We had inside presence.
Yep.
You know, the only thing with Teskey, I like Teskey, but Teskey is not a post-up guy.
No,
he's a slip screen, roll to the basket, you know, and we just don't have that inside where you can dump it off to and get to the line.
They match up really well with Michigan this year.
Oh, exactly. And I think that a couple years ago, last year, we matched up against them, and they couldn't match up against us.
Right.
And this year they could because of the inside presence. And Goins hurt us the first 2 games.
Yep.
Obviously, Winston did. Winston played outstanding this year.
I think he's one of the best players in the country.
He should be an All-American.
He should be, yeah.
And Xavier played okay against him, but Xavier can't match him up offensively.
No,
which hurt us.
That's not really what
you know. When we had Walton could play D and score.
Yes.
You know, Xavier can play D, and he can give us a few points. But he's not the guy that we don't have that sharpshooter like the Duncan Robinson or Stoskis like we used to.
One thing that State has this year, I think that Michigan had the last couple of years too, is their toughness comes out. They take over.
Coming back.
It's coming back.
The old Flintstone days.
The old toughness, the ability for them to shut us down at times. Offensively this year, we've gone in streaks. Michigan has gone in streaks.
Right.
Okay. So if they're not hitting threes, I mean, they're just an good basketball team.
Right. Exactly.
But definitely, I think the intangible this year is the toughness State shows. They have a feeling like we're going to beat.
But on the other hand, we talked about this too. State lost twice to Indiana this year.
Yes.
And we talked about they had a matchup problem.
They did. They do.
Indiana has a player that gets the ball and he goes to the basket, gets to the foul line, can shoot the 3. Yes. We don't have a guy that Jordan Poole's our closest guy, but he's not consistent in that. You know, we're always waiting for that 3.
Yeah. This is definitely a year where we're
when we hammered Minnesota, we're going to the basket like crazy.
Yep.
You know, we're going to the basket. I know it's tougher against State, but, you know, more times than not, you go in there, you might get the foul line. How many foul shots we had that first half? 0?
I think 0. Well, maybe 1.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know State didn't have many either, but they started getting to the line. We never did.
They did. That's for sure. They started.
And we're not a great free throw shooting team, but man, you gotta do something. So in this tournament, we're gonna get to in a minute, but Michigan State, I totally agree with you, was a matchup this year.
Last
year, didn't Michigan beat State 2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
You know, they're matchups. We had great matchups last year. We had Abdul Rahman. We had Wagner.
Yep.
They couldn't match up with Wagner.
Yep, he was a problem last year. Matching
Right.
problem for
Even with Ward on the floor.
Yep.
And we don't have that presence.
Yep.
So if Michigan, I think better days are ahead for them.
Sure. I think it's something they're going to need to address down the road if they're going to, because Michigan State is what they are.
Oh, yeah. They're always going to be that.
They're going to be that. They're going to be tough. They're going to have that presence inside, and they're going to take that away from you if you. I mean, they play great. I thought they played really good defense against us, but part of it was a matchup, as you said.
And we struggled.
They didn't have to worry about it inside.
And we struggled with the physical part. We've been a better rebounding team the last 2 years, but you could tell early in that game, State was getting the loose balls, hands on the ball.
Yeah.
We weren't getting the rebounds.
Well, further the game went along, more they
Right.
started
In the
us.
last few years, one reason Michigan's been good, we've been able to rebound the ball.
Yes.
We get out on the
offensive
break.
defense, inside
Right.
presence.
And we struggle with that a little bit.
Yep.
Even though I like Teskey, I like all these young guys, but I'm going to get to my bracket, but I still think we're a year away.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so, good. A little MSU, Michigan talk.
Always good.
Let's get to now, get to the bracket.
The bracket.
In the bracket. So, first thing I want to do is, after looking at the bracket and watching it come through, our 4 brackets. Which bracket do you think is the hardest bracket?
I personally think that the East is the hardest, with Duke and State in there. I mean, every bracket's tough. I just feel like the East is probably a little bit tougher than the Midwest. I have Midwest second, so.
Well, I'm opposite of you. I have the Midwest first, and I agree with you on Duke and Michigan State. The 1-2, that's a pretty tough 1-2.
Yes.
But the Midwest, I have a couple teams that you really like in there that caught my eye. I like Kentucky coming out of that bracket.
Mm-hmm. Good team. Yep.
They might have to play Walford or Seton Hall. But that Houston team, we talked about them. We watched them a lot this year. They're very athletic.
Yep.
Iowa State, it's not a bad team.
Yeah, they're playing well right now.
And a team I watched on Sunday, I was impressed with Auburn.
Yep.
Is in that.
Yep.
So for me, the Midwest is tougher just because
Probably a little more depth.
Yes.
Yeah, probably a little more depth as far as potential.
And then like the East, with Duke, Michigan State. Interesting that I was looking at this. Michigan State, if they beat Bradley, and I know you like Bradley.
I did.
Because you told me about a week ago you like Bradley. Michigan State plays the winner of Louisville or Minnesota. Now, that's interesting because, if Rick Pitino was still at Louisville, he'd be coaching against his son.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
I read an Action article. I think that there was no surprise that happened that way.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, with all this stuff going on. My thoughts on that is Louisville's pretty athletic. Michigan State will give Louisville fits. But Minnesota, they will play Michigan State tough.
They will.
They know Michigan State.
Yep.
That's one thing about Minnesota. They have some inside presence.
Yep. Yeah, they do.
And they're physical.
Yep.
They just didn't shoot the ball well against Michigan at all. But, they beat Purdue twice in a week.
Yeah, they're
and
very
Purdue's a number 3.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be a tough for them. You had, I had Midwest and then East. What'd you have?
I had East and then Midwest.
Okay, and then
I had the South, and I think the West is obviously the East.
That's exactly what I had.
Yeah.
So as far as looking at the South bracket, Virginia, we know all about Virginia.
Yep. I don't have them going far. I just don't feel like. I think they're a good team. I think the ACC is a great conference. I think they're just a bit overrated. They're top heavy, but Virginia year in year out.
You think they got that little stigma on them always that they're going to be the only number 1 to get beat by 16?
Oh, I think that's going to be there forever. But
I guarantee you that is going to be the talk of that first game.
Yeah.
When it comes on TV and they're playing Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a problem this year. But
No. But those announcers are going to be saying, hey, Virginia was the first team to ever get beat by a 1 in 16.
Yep.
You're going to hear a lot about that. The first round. Looking down the South, you like Kansas State. They're good. Purdue's in there. I like Tennessee coming out of that bracket.
Yep. I think that Tennessee, though, my problem with Tennessee is something similar to Michigan in the fact that they're very athletic, but they depend a lot on the three.
Oh, yeah.
Which most teams do now anyway.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's just the way basketball is played now. But I think they struggle. I think they were exposed a little bit at the end of the year. I like them too, but I don't like them going all the way.
I just don't trust Virginia.
No, I don't have Virginia. I personally like the toughness that K-State brings.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that. I like what they remind me of State a little bit. I know their big guys banged up a little bit, but I read.
What do you think about these two teams? That I know you talk about K-State, but a couple teams that we've watched and talked about a little bit, watching them. Purdue.
Yeah,
you think they can come out of there?
I think Purdue will win a game or two, potentially. I just don't think they have the same type of team that they've had.
They don't seem like they have a lot of depth.
They don't. Yeah, I don't like their overall in the tournament. I wonder about the Big Ten a little bit. I think there's a good conference, obviously, too, one of the top two conferences. I think that the way the basketball season has gone this year, I just don't think there's good matchups for them. I do think Michigan has some good matchups, but
Michigan's got good matchups. But I like what you said about the Big Ten. I feel the same way. I really feel that State's the only team in the Big Ten that is physically can match up with the upper echelon teams.
Yes. Injuries have hurt State. I think they could have been really good if their injuries wouldn't have hurt them this year.
Right. But the teams below Michigan State, I don't think we're as physical. Even Michigan.
Yeah.
We're not as physical. Wisconsin,
they are a little bit, but
Purdue.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I like K-State. I actually have K-State going to the Final Four.
Okay.
I think that they're a surprise team that they almost got there last year.
What about Cincinnati?
I like Cincinnati. I think they're.
I watched them play Houston.
Well, they just beat Houston.
Well, yeah, 2 or 3 times those teams. Those were good games.
Very good games. Yep.
So Houston, Cincinnati might be a surprise.
I have them beating Tennessee, actually.
Okay. And then we have the West bracket. Obviously, Gonzaga is number 1. Michigan's number 2.
Well, the stigma with Gonzaga is they don't play anybody at the end of their season. They played
Well, then
Duke. They beat Duke. I mean, they beat Duke
but then they got beaten their tournament by St. Mary's.
They definitely have the easiest road to get there. I don't think they're going to get there, but they definitely have the easiest road.
Well, they might have their hands full in the second round. Syracuse is in there.
Sure.
Syracuse, Boeheim gets those guys up for a tournament. Some years you don't think Syracuse is very good, and all of a sudden next thing you know, they're in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
As far as Michigan's in there, we're number 2, playing Montana. We played them last year. Remember, we got behind 10-0 right at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
One thing I heard about Montana, they do not have a starter over 6'7".
So they're small.
Yeah. So is this a case where we can get Teskey the ball inside? Try to post up.
Yep.
Matthews has got to show up.
I think we
for
were
us
trying
to win this tournament.
Not to go back, but I believe that we were actually trying to post up Teskey in the last Big Ten championship. We're just not very good at it.
And we're not good at giving the ball.
No.
How many times were we screaming and throw it to him? Throw it to him.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't.
Yeah. And when they did throw it to him, it was too late, or it was just one of these lob passes in that.
Tip or go out of bounds or defense recovers or something like that. As far as Michigan, I'm looking at if they beat Montana, they play the winner of Nevada and Florida. Now, that's an intriguing matchup. Either one of those teams, I feel Michigan will, I wouldn't say struggle, but it's going to be a battle. That's not going to be a blowout.
I think every game will be a struggle for Michigan, though. I don't think there'll be any blowouts.
Nevada used to be under the radar. They're not under the radar anymore. No,
and I like Michigan against one of those two teams. I still have them. My one thing I like about this bracket, I think there's going to be some surprises out here. I like Marquette all year. I think that they're a team that's going to surprise.
I know you have Buffalo.
I got Buffalo. I think that they are under the radar still, though people do notice them. I think they were ranked in the top 16, 17 most of the year. Top 25, I should say, most of the year. Watching them, they have a lot of seniors.
Right.
They have like 4 starting seniors and another senior.
Well, that's what you see in the tournament. Teams that have seniors.
They-
Whether it's the Davison team or all those teams, always had seniors.
Yep.
I think we match up good against Florida. They like to run.
Yep.
That's kind of our game. Nevada, be a little tougher. I know Texas Tech is in there.
Texas, a lot of people have talked about Texas.
They're known, very physical, very good defensive
I've watched them a
team.
number of times this year. I think that on a night they could be a Final Four team. I think we say this every year, but more than ever, a number of teams could make the Final Four.
Okay.
In each bracket.
I see a matchup that intrigues me in the West, and I can't remember the guy's name, but Marquette plays Murray State.
Yes.
Murray State has that player. I can't remember his name.
John Morant.
John Murray.
Thank you, David. I watched some highlights of him. He's a player.
Actually, funny that you brought up John Moran and Murray State. I heard a stat today that they have 3 starters in the NBA.
Oh, really?
3 point guard starters in the NBA.
Okay.
I can't remember who they are right now. We'll have to look that up. But maybe David could look that up. But they are point guard you. They have some guys going to the NBA. They could be now. I think in today's game, there's no real Cinderellas, because I think they could win a couple games.
He's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah,
you see his vertical is like 44 inches.
Yeah,
I mean, he's in
games.
Zion's range.
Yeah.
So
really
okay, let's get down to our Final Four in picks. What do you think?
All right, I'm going out on a limb.
I don't know. Okay.
I already called 2. I got Duke in the East. I got Kansas State in the South. I have Auburn in the Midwest, and I have Buffalo in the West.
Okay. Well, I know you haven't been feeling well. You got an earache. Now, did that go to your brain? Because you sound like a guy that's going to the horse track and betting on the trifectas.
Who was in the Final Four last year?
Yeah. I understand that. But, I mean, obviously, if you think if those 4 teams are going to get that, and do you have them in your bracket? Those are in your bracket.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not just BSing me. Okay.
No, I got it in my bracket, actually.
So I guarantee if those 4 teams are in the Final Four, you're going to win your bracket.
Yes.
Okay, so you're a gambling man.
I'm a gambling man.
Okay.
I'm saying this year,
I'm a little more conservative than you are, but I'm not going off number ones. I do like. I have not watched a lot of K-State. I do like Auburn.
Yep.
And you got Buffalo.
Yep.
Oh, they've been going nuts in Buffalo town.
Yep.
Bringing out the old Bills.
Well, I don't have them winning that, but I got them getting to the Final Four. I don't think anybody's going to beat Duke. I think Duke's the best team in the country this year.
I got Duke and Michigan on the one side of the bracket.
Okay.
On the other side of the bracket, I got Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a matchup there. I think that Tennessee and Kentucky game, they played 3 times already this year.
Yep.
They're going, this could be number 4. You never know. If Michigan State beats Duke.
Now, I could be wrong.
Michigan State could play for a 4th time this year.
I watched probably more basketball this year than I've watched in a number of years, but I think the SEC is just a little overrated.
Oh, yeah.
So to get 2 teams in the Final Four, I don't see it happening. But I definitely could see. I think anybody who puts Final Four things together, I think they could. So
you're questioning my Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah.
But you got Buffalo and Kansas State.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I
agree. That's the thing about March Madness. You love it because you never know.
Actually, I don't know how many number 1 seed. I know conferences are different, okay, because they played each other at least probably 2 times and sometimes 3 times with the conference. But how many number 1 seeds got knocked out?
Right.
And it's going to happen. I guarantee it's going to happen. Right. The lower seeds. I probably didn't pick enough upsets.
Right.
Because my gut tells me that good teams come through.
Mm-hmm.
But every year it's proven.
It's a crapshoot. There's going to be some good games.
Who did Villanova play in the Final Four last year?
I was going to ask you guys that.
Does anybody know? I know Michigan played.
Yeah,
Michigan played Chicago Loyola.
Yeah,
which
I'll look it up. But
they didn't make it this year.
No.
So sister, whatever her name is.
That just proves, I think, more and more. And we didn't talk about Wolford, which I think I wanted to pick them more. I
think they're rated this year. I've never seen that team.
They played Kansas in the Final Four and blew them out.
They beat
Kansas.
Yeah.
There's an overrated team.
I just think that the talent spread out. There's good players on every team. There's probably 2 or 3 good players on every team. Mm-hmm. And on any given night, anybody can beat anybody.
All right.
So
what do you got in your final game?
I have Duke. I have Duke beating Auburn.
Okay.
I have Auburn in the final game. And part of the reason I have them, they're playing good right now, but I think that they are even underrated in our era of 3-pointers.
Oh, yeah.
I think
they make like
scary.
50 or more in the tournament. Yeah.
So, and I think Duke is the best team.
I like Auburn. I do. I got Duke and Kentucky in the finals. Big old, that would be high TV ratings.
It would be.
I have Duke winning it too. I don't think we can match up with anybody can match up with that athleticism.
No.
I think State will give them a tough game for a while.
I think some teams could give them tough games. I think a lot of teams could give them tough games. I think Gonzaga could.
But who's going to match up against that Williamson kid?
Yeah. I think Bolden coming back is a key for them.
Yeah.
But even without him watching them, Zion Williamson is just he can take over a game. Right. He's that good.
Right. Real quick before we go.
Yeah.
We watched the high school games last week.
Yeah.
Your opinion?
So I watched actually the semifinals, some of the regionals, some of the best basketball that I've seen in a while. The finals were obviously 3 of the games were great, incredible games.
I watched them.
The semifinals, 2 or 3 of them were incredible games. Not just good games, but they were incredible games, incredible finishes, unusual plays. I think it's because we played high school. I think we can still relate to that. And there was some. 3-pointer has gotten into high school, but they're still solid, low post play, tough defense. Most of the games were in the 50s. But my opinion of it were my favorite game, unfortunately, in the finals was the Palama Westphalia Iron Mountain game. It ended in controversy, obviously. But, I thought it was a great game all the way through. Iron Mountain, looking at it, probably should have won. They didn't.
Yeah.
But you got to give Palama credit. Colin T. Whaler, if he gets up to the you get up free throw line with 0.7 seconds, 0.7 with 2 free throws to win.
Well, I gotta take a time out and go change my underwear.
I watched replay, and actually, he's standing up at the free throw line for about 30 seconds, and finally the official comes and takes the ball from him. He's standing there by himself, and then he walks to the huddle because they actually called. Yeah. Then he came back, and then they called another timeout. Yeah, and you can just see the crowd in the background. Just everybody's going crazy. But to step up there and make 2 free throws, you got to give it to him for that.
That was big.
Yeah,
there was a lot of controversy in that. I have 3 points to end up on the high school. Number 1. The Bates kid from Ypsilanti. Yep. He's going to be a real deal.
Real deal.
Once he gets some weight put on him, I think we talked about this. I think he is the type of guy, he's going to go straight to the pros.
Yes.
When the CBA and the NBA changes over. Probably. Yeah. If he doesn't go, where does he go? Well, he's going to Duke. Yeah, he's probably. Maybe Kentucky for a one and done.
Yeah. He's definitely a Duke type of Kentucky.
But player. I think the CBA changes in a couple of years, and I think they have that in there where 18-year-olds can come in again. He's going to be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty special. Number 2, real quick, I thought the coaching was outstanding.
Oh, good point.
I thought the coaches did a nice job on making adjustments.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, really good point.
Ypsilanti coach did a great job at halftime because they were behind by double digits. and did a really nice job of getting them back in the game.
Yep, that was a really good point. Yep.
And number 3, we talked about this, and you just mentioned it. The game of basketball has changed totally.
Yeah.
You're not. These teams are not setting up and running a motion offense or a
No.
flex offense anymore.
Well, it's five spread, 5 out.
Five, yeah,
That's what
5
they
out.
call it.
And they're just pushing the ball.
Yeah.
Drive, penetrate, kick out.
Yeah.
Drive, penetrate, kick out.
I mean, when the post guy has been slowly getting faded out. I see some post guys in the NBA now coming back. Andre Drummond. And,
Oh, yeah.
But you watch college and
Yeah.
they're great athletes, but great 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't see a lot of post-ups in high school. Even Bates, he played out the 3-point line most
He did.
of the game.
Yep.
So
He did.
But he's going to be special.
Yep. He's going to
So-
be a special one for sure. And being a freshman, Division I's got 3 more years ahead.
Oh yeah, he's got all kinds of scholarship offers. He's probably got a few checks rolling in by now. So
High school games
says
are
Duke
outstanding.
University. Yeah.
I'll give a plug to MHSAA. I got the channel. Man, I watched so many games. I went to a few, but
Yeah.
watched 20 games probably. They
Yeah.
were fun to watch.
MHSAA does a nice job with their tournaments
They
and their
do.
coverage.
They
I
do.
like that MHS, the TV part.
Yeah.
That we've been watching, so
Yeah.
that's great. So, all right, that's the end of another show. It's been great.